In this scenario, we have a couple in their early 50s. They have 2 children, one in college and the second in high school. This couple wants to retire before 70. Between savings, investments, and insurance policies, they feel like they're set for a comfortable retirement. For them, the question is how to structure the use of their funds and assets when they start their retirement, and knowing the potential risks involved.
So early 50s, they want to retire before 70. That gives them less than 20 years. How common is this situation, and how do they go about structuring their finances to achieve this goal?
Well, I think it's critical to recognize that so much emphasis in our industry is on that first phase, accumulating wealth, without necessarily regarding the importance of having a distribution strategy. And fundamentally, the rules change when you transition from accumulation to distribution. It goes from, what if I die too early, to, I have no idea how long I'm going to live, and what if I run out of money during this unknown duration of time? Issues such as healthcare can be really expensive. You have issues like inflation, which is insidious, and it means that you have less purchasing power every single year. Taxes increase and you're on a fixed income, it means that you have less money to spend. The market, while you're working, the volatility is actually your friend, because that's where you get the returns. But during your retirement, if you're withdrawing money and you don't have a strategy, and that's where you have to go to provide income and cash flow, if you don't have a strategy, then when you're withdrawing money and the market's down, you're effectively locking in those losses.
I will tell you that my clients in this age bracket will typically expand their portfolios to include real estate investment. They might be a partner in a large commercial property, or they might choose to just buy a residential property that they can either rent out or they can let one of their children live in. Real estate brings with it a whole new set of tax laws that need to be learned. In addition to that, when it comes time to sell that real estate, you have options. You might want the buyer to cash you out, or you might want to exchange that piece of property for another piece of property to defer the taxes. Or thirdly, you might carry back a note from the buyer to give you some continued monthly cash flow from that property. Another situation that I find common for my clients, they tend to be sandwiched when they're in their 50s between their kids who are finishing college and trying to launch their own lives, and their parents who might require some financial assistance and planning help. With the parents, it's possible that they will assist them financially by moving them into a senior living environment or bring them home to live with the family. In some cases, they can look at taking their parents as a dependent, depending on the situation individually. Then we have gifting issues that come into play when the parents gift money to them, when they gift money to their 20-year-olds to help them purchase a home. How does that affect their tax structure? And we also have inheritance that we need to start looking at. When they inherit assets from their parents, how does that affect their tax structure or their financial plans moving forward?
From the legal standpoint, this is where the fun begins. There are so many things that can be done here. Just to touch on one thing, a lot of people are in a second marriage, they have children from prior marriages, and one of the main concerns is, how do I make sure my spouse is okay and not cut out the children, or make sure that both sides are taken care of, and so forth and so on. So there's a lot of issues that it's important to sit down and have your estate plan structured in such a way that you have all of the eventualities taken care of. You don't know who's going to die in what order and what the needs are going to be, so careful planning can certainly help all of those things. The other component, which I touched on briefly before, was that Nevada has some very strong asset protection vehicles that allow you to create an entity, a Nevada Asset Protection Trust, wherein you can put your property in there and You control it. You or mom and dad are the trustees. They're the beneficiaries. You can have your estate planning incorporated in that. Under Nevada law, it takes a couple of years before the cement hardens, and once that happens, you can make sure that whatever you have acquired to this point in your life is yours throughout the duration. Again, as it's been said, that life begins at 50, not for financial purposes. Hopefully you have acquired it by then. You don't want to get cleaned out and have to start over. There are ways to protect yourself from that. And then finally, down to the next generation, you have, Kim, as you mentioned, you have not only what you have accumulated, but a lot of times you will receive an inheritance from parents, and you want to make sure that that's protected, that that's taken care of, that you have the right structure to have it go down to your kids in such a way that it will benefit them, not hurt them. You can structure your plan, your estate planning in such a way that they can use it for their benefit, but they can't use it to blow it all on whatever they're going to blow it on. And so there's a lot of things that can be done in making sure that your estate is protected, that you can do whatever your goals are, and making sure that your wishes are carried out.